in the Haftorah of Vayetze, which we said this morning in Shul, the first two psukim, Vayivrach Yankov Sedei Aram. Yankov fled to the field of Aram. It's in Hosea Simen Yud Beis. Yankov fled to the field of Aram, Vayavod Yisrael Be'isho, and Yisrael, which is Yankov, worked for a wife, Uve'isho Shomo, and for a wife he kept the sheep. The second pasuk, Uvenovi Elo Hashem es Yisrael miMitzrayim. Hashem took out the Yidden from Mitzrayim, from Shibud Mitzrayim, through a Novi, who is Moshe, Uvenovi Nishmoch. And the Klal Yisrael was kept through a Novi, with a Novi. Pashut, that means, plainly, again Moshe Rabbeinu, during 40 years in the Midbar, it was Moshe Rabbeinu who had in charge the leadership of the Klal Yisrael. So what we must understand in those two psukim is, you notice that there is a symmetry between the first pasuk and the second. Vayivrach Yankov Sedei Aram, Vayavot Yisrael Be'isho Uve'isho Shomor, Uvenovi Elo Hashem es Yisrael miMitzrayim, Uvenovi Nishmor. There is a repetition here in two psukim. It seems that one pasuk is like an answer to the first. Like two people, when one sings, a duo, one sings and the other answers, it rhymes, and there is a symmetry between the two. So that's the impression we have when we read those two psukim. Vayivrach Yankov Sedei Aram, Vayavod Yisrael Be'isho Ve'isho Shomor, Uvenovi Elo Hashem es Yisrael Mitzrayim, Uvenovi Nishmor. The same as Yankov fled to the Aram, and he worked for a wife, and he kept the flock for a wife, to have, in order to get a wife. The same, Uvenovi Elo Hashem es Yisrael miMitzrayim, Hashem took out the Yidden from Egypt through a Novi, Uvenovi Nishmor. And also the Klal Yisrael was kept through a Novi. So we have to understand what one has to do with the other. What is the connection between those two psukim? So there is a medrash on Pashas Vayetze, Midrash Rabo. Maybe this medrash is going to give us some kind of explanation for that. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Parshe Ayin, Midrash Rabo, Parshe Ayin. Omar Rabbi Yochanan said, Ksiv itritin in Hosea, Vayivrach Yankov Sedei Aram, Vayavod Yisrael Be'isho, etc. Omar Lohem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to the Yidden through the Novi Hosea, Dugmo Shelochem Doime LeYankov Avichem. You resemble the same as Yankov, your father. Ma Yankov Avichem, Ad Shelo Noso Isho Nishtabed. The same as Yankov, your father, before he married a wife, he had to work like a slave. He was nishtabed, shibud, to Lavan for 7 years in order to marry her wife. Mishenoso isho nishtabed, and after he married his wife, Leah, which Lavan tricked him, and gave him Leah instead of Rachel, nishtabed, he had to work a second 7 years after he got a wife in order to get Rachel. Afatem, the same you, the same the Klal Yisrael, Mishelo Nolad Goyel, before the Goyel, before the Savior, Moshe Rabbeinu, was born, Nishtabadetem, you were in slavery in Egypt, ומשנולד גויל אתם משתעבדים. And even after you got a Moshe Rabbeinu, he was born, and yet you are still in Shibud afterwards. So here the Medrash Rabbi Yochanan says clearly there is a connection between Shibud Mitzrayim and the fact that Yaakov also was mishtabed to Lavan in order to get a wife. You resemble Yaakov, your father. The same as Yaakov. He was mishtabed before he got a wife. And he was mishtabed after he got a wife. You also, you were mishtabed in Mitzrayim before you got a Moshe Rabbeinu. And also you were mishtabed in Mitzrayim, or in other Goluyas, after Mitzrayim, after you got a Moshe Rabbeinu. In other words, it is not sufficient just to have a Goyel that you can get a Gula Shleima. Okay, you got a Moshe Rabbeinu, but nevertheless, you still got a Shibud Take in Mitzrayim, and after Mitzrayim, we know that the Gula of Mitzrayim was not a Gula Shleima, because we had after Gula Mitzrayim 4 Goluyas, as we're going to say later. So now we've got from this Medrash Rabbi Yochanan a clear insight what the Novi means when he says, the same as Yaakov fled to the field of Aram, and he worked for a wife, and again he worked for a wife. That's what he says. Vayavod Yisrael be'isho, 7 years, over Isho Shomo, and another 7 years he had to keep the flock of Lavan to get Rachel, to get his wife. The same with a Novi, Elo Hashem is Yisrael v'mitzroyim, with a Novi Nishmo. The same HaKadosh Baruch Hu got out the Yidden with a Novi. That means there was a Shibud Mitzrayim because of what? Because you resemble your father Yaakov. So we have to understand that. What does it mean we resemble our father Yaakov? What kind of resemblance is that? To say, you are like Yaakov Avichem. You are like your father Yaakov. Because Yaakov worked 7 years, and again 7 years. So we have to suffer in Shibud Mitzrayim. And we compare the 7 years before and the 7 years after to the Shibud before Moshe Rabbeinu and the Shibud after Moshe Rabbeinu. This Medrash needs explaining. Okay, it leads us the way to understand what the Novi means to say by putting together the symmetrical 2 psukim, mamash, the rhyme one with the other. V'ishol nishomo uveNovi nishmo. When you read in the Haftorah, we see there is a symmetry between those 2 psukim. It's not just for the sake of the poetry, but it's because there is the Novi put them together. Omar lohem, the Novi said to the Klal Yisrael, you are like Yaakov. Same as Yaakov fled to the Aram, and he had to work 7 years, and again 7 years. You also, you had to go to Mitzrayim, and you had the Shibud before Moshe was born, after Moshe was born. So we have to understand what Rabbi Yochanan wants to say. I had a question on Yaakov Avinu. We know that Yaakov Avinu was a tremendous Baal Bitochen. Yaakov Avinu had such a trust in Hashem. Mamish. He was unique in his trust in Hashem. We see from the story which he had with Lavan, all the Nisim, how Lavan, the trickster Lavan, the cheater Lavan, the famous Lavan, he had to bow down in front of Yaakov in the end. As he was changing his contract from Akudim Livrudim, from Vrudim, every time he changed, he said, you get those kinds of sheep. Meaning, you can't have them because now he knows that the sheep born were not like that. They changed. The sheep were changing according to the contract for the benefit of Yaakov. Yaakov was tremendous Baal Bitochen. Ma'amin, Baal Bitochen. So I had a question. We know there is a pasuk, Bor HaGever, Asher Yiftach B'Hashem, V'oyu Hashem yivtachoi. The man that puts his trust in Hashem is Baruch, is blessed. Blessed means everything should go glad, as we say. It should go straight. It shouldn't have any failure in his ishtadlus. That means whatever he undertakes it with a conviction of bitochen, emunah b'Hashem. He doesn't believe that because he is undertaking a certain activity, that is that activity which is going to help him. No, like the Chovos HaLevavos says, he should not trust his ishtadlus, his activity, but he should know he has to do a certain activity for the sake of the mitzvah, as we already said, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants a world where there's all kinds of people, taxi drivers, bakers, shoemakers, in order that the world should be a place which is pleasant to live in. And that is the intention a person should have when he does ishtadlus. He shouldn't have the kavanah in ishtadlus to get money for himself. He should have the right kavanah in ishtadlus to help others, to do chesed. Olam chesed yibon. The money is bashet from HaKadosh Baruch Hu anyhow, from Rosh Hashanah. B'zchus you do the chesed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do chesed with you. So how is that Yaakov Avinu had a failure in his ishtadlus? He worked 7 years. That was his ishtadlus. His mother said, Yaakov, and his father told him, you go to Lavan, you stay with Lavan yomim achodim, a few amount of days. What is yomim achodim? How many days does it mean? Rashi says, the 7 years he worked for Rochel, he thought it was for Rochel, he hoped it was for Rochel. Those 7 years, it says in the Torah, "Vayiyu be'einov ki yomim achodim be'avoso yisoi." Those 7 years flew as quick as yomim achodim, as a few days. Rashi says there, yomim achodim, that means those 7 years, those were the 7 years which Rivka Imenu allowed Yaakov Avinu to go away from them by Lavan. We know that Yaakov Avinu was punished. He had oynish because he stayed longer than 7 years. What was he punished with? The same as he gave Agmas Nefesh to his parents to stay longer. How much longer? He stayed 22 years instead of 7 years. The same Yosef, his son, was taken away from him during 22 years exactly. Mida keneged mida. You make your parents suffer, you as a parent will also suffer. So the question is like this. A double question. First of all, why did Yaakov Avinu fail Take in his ishtadlus of 7 years? He had in mind to stay yomim achodim. And Lavan told him, yes, okay, I agree, 7 years. You work 7 years, no more, and you get rochen and you go back home. In the end, Lavan tricked him. How is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed Lavan to trick Yaakov? Because we see afterwards, he didn't allow Lavan to trick Yaakov when it came to the sheep, to the flock, to become wealthy. Lavan could move heaven and earth, but poor Lavan, all the sheep, that is Yaakov who got them. Lavan didn't get anything. We know that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to help Yaakov, no tricks and no chitterai could help Lavan. He couldn't do anything against Yaakov. Baruch HaGever asher yiftach b'Hashem, because blessed is man who trusts Hashem. So why is that? About his wife, there he had a failure. Why for his wife? He was tricked. He was cheated. Baruch HaGever Sheyiftach B'Hashem. He worked 7 years with bitochen. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should have done that. Lavan cannot do anything against him. Lavan wants to change Rachel with Leah instead of Rachel. No, es geht nicht so. Baruch HaGever Sheyiftach B'Hashem. What will you say? You'll say because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted Leah to become his wife. Also, he had his cheshbonos because Leah Tzadekes was crying so much. As it says in the Torah, Ve'ine Leah Rakois. And also because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew she was going to be Ma'amid, Shiftei Ko, Levi, Yehuda, Malchus, Kahuna, Gewalt. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed Lavan to trick Yaakov. That's what you would tell me. But then the question is, if so why was Yaakov punished? If it was the work of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Yaakov intended only to stay 7 years, just to marry Rachel and to go back home, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu had his cheshbonos, because he wanted that Leah should be also the wife of Yaakov, so why should Yaakov be punished? It's not his fault. So we must say like this. We must say there was a chesaron which we don't know what, but there was a chesaron in the hishtadlus. If the Torah says Yaakov Avinu was punished for his hishtadlus, yes, by Lavan, there must have been a chesaron in his hishtadlus. A small chesaron of bitochen in his hishtadlus. We don't know what. Like the Alter of Slabodka says, Daka the nivdak, it's so thin, the thinnest of the chesroines, which we can't even know it ourselves. But the Torah tells us that for a purpose, so that we should get a lesson. And Yaakov Avinu was punished not just for 16 years, because there's another question. If the 7 years, it was allowed by his mother, so why was he punished 22 years? He should have been punished 22 years minus the first 7 years, because the first 7 years, it was not an avere. He did what his mother told him to do. What did he add? He added another twice 7 years. Yes, another twice 7 years. So then he should have been punished for the other twice 7 years. Why for 3 times 7 years? Plus the journey. Why was he punished for the journey back? He can't go quicker than that. So the answer is, since the ishtadlus of Yaakov Avinu had a chesaron in bitochen, therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished him for the whole lot of the ishtadlus. It was not just a chesaron in the second lot of the 2 7 years. It was a chesaron of ishtadlus in Yaakov Avinu in the whole 22 years. Only we don't understand what it was. It was something to do with, there is a very thin line which one should not get over between ishtadlus and bitochen. We don't know how to explain it by Yaakov Avinu, but by us we know how to explain it. When I slightly feel that is my ishtadlus that gives me my parnose and not the Rabbeinu Shloilo, that is a chesaron ishtadlus. By us it's obvious. We don't have to search a long time. Like the Chovas HaLevavos says, if a person, how do we know, for example, if we trust our ishtadlus or we trust our bitochen, or we trust Hashem Yisborach for our parnose? He says there are 6 ways to test ourselves with it. See, I just mentioned 1 or 2, and that's enough. The first is, a person should be as happy when he fails in his ishtadlus as when he's successful in his ishtadlus. That is already one test, to test ourselves whether we trust in our ishtadlus or we trust Hashem Yisborach. You see? So it makes us smile. How far our bitochen goes. That's the first test of the Chovos Halevovos. If we trust our Ishtadlis, yeah, so we are upset if we fail in our Ishtadlis. If we trust Hashem Yisborach, then we are not upset at all, because we know it's not the Ishtadlis that failed. It's the Rebbeinu Shel Olam that didn't want it to happen. So but I just give that as a model for us. For Yaakov, we can't say it's so plain, but there must have been some kind of result. We must say there is no way to explain it differently. And in order to support that, to confirm that, I just want to quote another midrash. And also Midrash Rabbo in Parshas Vayetze. The Midrash says, there are 4 people that made a neder. 2 profited, gained from the neder, and 2 lost. Yaakov Avinu made a neder. Vehifsi, then he lost. Yiftach made a neder and he lost. Now what did Yaakov Avinu lose? He lost that Dinah was taken by Hamor ben Shechem. Shechem ben Hamor. Because he made a neder, going to Lavan, when he dreamt about the ladder, and the next morning he made a neder. He said, I'll come back to that place. It was the Har HaMoriah. I'm going to serve Hashem on this place. And what? And he was late. When he came back to Eretz Yisrael, he did other things. He didn't go straight. He went to Shechem, and there Dinah was taken by Shechem ben Hamor. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him afterwards, go and do your neder now. So Yaakov made a neder and he lost. He lost in making a neder because he got punished because of that neder. He got punished with the Ma'aseh of Dinah. Yiftach, we know what he lost. He lost his daughter. He made a neder, the first creature that will come to meet me coming from the battle, if I'm victorious, will be Lashem, will be a sacrifice for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what was the first creature? That was his daughter. So Hifsid, a man Domar says, Machlekes, what happened to her? One man Domar says, Taka, that he killed her, Taka. Slaughtered her. Chane, the wife of Elkono, she made a neder and she gained Shmuel HaNovi. Yisrael, when they went to battle against the Melech Harod, they also made a neder. In Chumash, where we are going to make all the towns cherem if you make us victorious. So the question is, why Yaakov Avinu made a neder and he wasn't? The neder, he didn't gain from the neder. Yaakov no davi hifsid. Why? What was wrong with the neder of Yaakov Avinu? So when we read in the Chumash, we say like this: HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed himself to Yaakov Avinu with a ladder, with a malachim, and he tells him all kinds of promises. V'ina Hashem yitzovolov, Hashem said to Yaakov, I am Hashem Elokei Avrom, Avicho, Elokei Yitzchok, Ha'oretz asher atoshecha v'oleyo lecho etneno ulezarecha. You'll have Eretz Yisrael, and your descendants will have it. V'oyo zaracho kaf ha'oretz, your descendants will be as many as the dust of the ground. Uforatzto yomo v'keimo v'tzofono v'negbo. And you'll enlarge your boundaries to the south, to the west, to the south, to the north, to the east. I mean, to the east first. Yeah, and all the families of the world will be blessed by you, with your descendants. And I will be with you, and I'll keep you wherever you go, and I shall return you to this land, because I shall not forsake you, I shall not abandon you. Ad asher imosisies asher dibarti loch, until I have done all what I told you now. And Yaakov wakes up, And he makes a neder, and he says, if Hashem will be with me, and he will keep me on the way which I'm going now, and he shall give me bread to eat, and clothes to put on, and I shall return in peace to the house of my father, then this stone, which I put as a matzeva, as a monument, shall be a Beis Elokim, a house of prayer. So the question is, Rashi says, Im Elokim imodi, im yishmor li haftoches halolu sheiftichani. If he'll keep me all those promises that he has promised me, why does he need to make a neder? Chazal say, from here we learn, a person in a time of sorrow should make a neder. From here we learn. Because Yaakov Avinu was in a very difficult situation here. He was all alone. He was running away without a penny in his pocket. To Lavan or Arami, when he knows what kind of a person he is. Full of, all alone, not a penny in his pocket. It's a time of tzoreh. It's a very difficult time. And he makes a neder. So Chazal say in a time of tzoreh, a person should make a neder. We learn it from Yaakov. So why was he punished for this neder? Why? Two people made a neder and they lost in making the neder. Let's leave Yiftach now for just Yaakov. Why was it wrong to make the neder? What was wrong with the neder here? What was wrong? It was wrong that he didn't need to make any neder. After he heard the promises of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, after he heard HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'hineh Hashem nitzov olov, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is standing in front of him and he says, Ani Hashem, and he sees the Rabbeinu Shel Olam speaks to him and he tells him, the land will be yours, your children will be as many as the dust of the ground, and you'll enlarge your boundaries to the east, to the west, to the south, to the north, and I'll be with you and I'll keep you wherever you go, and shall return you to this land, and shall not forsake you. What else do you need to make a neder? You just heard it. He promised to you. That's why this neder. Now, why did Yaakov? We don't know. I'm not explaining how Yaakov made a mistake like that. It's not as we know. It's not as we read it. Shemo yigrom achet, the Meforshim say. Maybe he will sin in between. And if he sins, then all the avtochos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are null and void. Maybe that's why he made a neder. But in the process of making the neder, he lost. Now there's another thing in the Medrash. I think I told you last year. That is more explicit. When he saw the angels going up the ladder and coming down, he saw those four angels. The angel of Bovel, you know that every nation has got an angel in heaven to lead that nation and to protect that nation and to ask the Rabbeinu Shel Olam to give Ashpoes Toivas to that nation. So he saw the angel of Bovel going up 70 rungs in the ladder and coming down. And then he saw the angel of Modai going up 52 rungs and coming down. And then he saw the angel of Yovam going up 100 rungs and coming down. And then he saw the angel of Edom, Esau, going up and up and up, and he didn't see him coming down until he lost sight of him. So he got scared in his dream. Maybe the angel of Edom will never come down. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no, Yaakov, do not fear. Even if he comes right up to me, I'll make him go down again. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yaakov, now your turn, you go up the ladder. And Yaakov was scared. He said, the same as those angels went up and went down, if I go up the ladder, I might also go down. I prefer not to go up. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yaakov, Yaakov, do not fear. If you go up the ladder, you'll never go down. You are not like the angels, you are better than they. And yet Yaakov, lo emin, the Midrash Tanchuma, in the beginning of Vayetze, he did not have faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he did not want to go up the ladder. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yaakov, because you did not have emunah in me, because of that your children will go in Golus in those 4 kingdoms. Golus Bovel, 70 years, Golus Modai, 52 years, Golus Yovon, 100 years, and Golus Edom, we are still in it. Because Yaakov Avinu did not want to go up the ladder in his dream. That's a Midrash Tanchuma in the beginning of Parshas Vayetze. Of course, the question is, what can you ask somebody in a dream? If someone has got a nightmare, and I don't know, he sees a ganev, chas v'sholom, tries to break in the house. I hope you won't dream that tonight. And then he wakes up, and he says, you know what, I made a bad dream last night. The ganev tried to break in on the house. And I'll tell him, so what? Why didn't you say Kapitel Tehillim? It's a joke. How can you ask someone who is in the dream, why didn't you say Kapitel Tehillim? Why didn't you say Apostle? Why didn't you say Ono Hashem Oshiono? I'm dreaming. What can you ask a person who is dreaming? One has no bechira. How can he be punished because in his dream he didn't want to go up the ladder? Secondly, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell him to go up the ladder? The ladder was for the angels. V'hine malach Elokim oilim v'yordim boi. He is not an angel. Why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell Yaakov Avinu, now you go up the ladder? Why do you tell me to go up? The ladder is for the angels. Malach Elokim oilim v'yordim boi. I'm not an angel. Why are you telling me to go up the ladder? So both questions are answered like this. There is a Gemara in Maseches Broches, Daf Nun Vov. Ein marin lo lo odom. We don't show a person in his dream only from what he thinks during the day, his deep thoughts. Because a person, for example, in the case of the burglar, because one has been burglared once and is very much afraid to be burglared the second time, so he's afraid during the day, so he'll dream at night what he thought during the day. And the Gemara tells an interesting story about that. That once Rabbi Yehosha ben Levi, I think Rabbi Yehosha ben Levi said to Caesar, to Caesar, Caesar said to Rabbi Yehosha ben Levi, I know you are very clever, you the Chachamim of the Yidden. So tell me, can you tell me what I'm going to dream tonight? He said, of course, he said. Tonight you're going to dream that the king of Persia is going to take you in captivity and make you grind stones of dates like a donkey. So he got so scared because his arch enemy was the king of Persia. So that night he dreamt that. So next morning he said, oh, Mamish, you're so clever, you the Yidden. How did you know? So he told him the secret. Because I told you, I know you feared it very much. So I know you are going to get worried about it. You're going to think all day about it. And that's what you're going to dream, and that's what you dreamt. And then once the king of Persia asked the same Tane, Rabbi Yehosha ben Levi, I think it's Rabbi Yehosha ben Levi, tell me, you the Jews are so clever, tell me what I'm going to dream tonight. Shavur Malko, that's the king of Persia. So Rabbi Yehosha ben Levi told him the same thing. Tonight you're going to dream that Caesar, the soldiers of Rome, are going to attack you, take you prisoner, and make you grind in the mill, like a donkey. So poor Shlomo Malke, he dreamt Takias. And the next day he came to him and said, you're so clever. How did you know? He said, no, it's possible. Because you're so afraid of Caesar. They were the two most powerful nations in the time, Persia against Rome, that he thought about it all day. So Pshat is like this. A dream is the reflection of one's inner thoughts, deepest thoughts. And therefore, if Yaakov Avinu had that dream, that means it reflected in Yaakov Avinu a certain hesitation in Aliyah. Again, this hesitation in Aliyah was not stamazoi, was because of going up, of going up higher than the Madrege is. People think that a tzaddik like Yaakov Avinu doesn't need chizuk. People think that B'nai Torah, Frume Yidden, don't need Musar. But we said last time already, from Yaakov and Esav, we can learn that Afilu Azar Rosh, such a Rosh like Esav, was mamish before he was born. He wanted to do Avodah Zorah. He was born with such a nature of a murderer. Kulo Admoini was red in the face. The baby, full of hair, like a fur coat, as she said. Kulo Kader, it's also a sign of Chazal saying he's going to be hard to do tshuva. Such a bad character, a poor little baby. What do you want from him? So why should he be in Gehenna? The Torah tells us this story to tell us. There's a medrash in Parshas Shmois, the first medrash, mamish the beginning of Shmois. The medrash Rabbi says, who is responsible that Esav became a Rosh, Yotzor Tarbus Ro, because Yitzchak Avinu loved him and did not want to rebuke him when he saw he was not behaving properly. He did not give him Musar, so says the medrash. And the medrash quotes the pasuk in Mishlei, Choyser Shifto Yisoyne Benoi. Spare the rod, spoil the child. On Yitzchak to Esav. Yitzchak is responsible because he did not want to upset Esav. And so was responsible for Yishmael, Avron. But Yaakov gave Musar to all the Yud Beis, Shvotim, that's why they all came out tzaddikim. Yitzchak gave Musar to Yaakov, that's why Yaakov became a tzaddik. Das steht im Medrash. What is Yaakov? Do you need for Yaakov to give Musar? Yaakov, before he was born, wanted to learn Torah already. What does he need Musar? Pshat is, as we said last time, even someone who has got such a tremendous good nature like Yaakov Avinu, he also needs Musar. He also has a Yeter Hore. Kol HaGodel Mechavo Yitzchak Gdol Mimenu. And here, in this Midrash Tanchume, it shows us that even somebody like Yaakov Avinu, he hesitated to go further up in his madrege, to climb even higher. Why? Because he was afraid he might crash down. How many times we also say the same? How many times we are being proposed to do something good, to do a mitzvah, and we say, I don't know, I can't undertake it. If I undertake it, I might later on not be able to uphold it, to go on with it, and it will be worse. We hear people saying, don't take on this job, it's not for you. If you take it, you'll fail, and it will be worse. You'll crash. There is a cheshbon in that. A person should not go higher than his madrege. But there is also, from this medrash we see, that a person should have enough courage to want to go higher. And not to say, I won't go higher because I'm afraid to go down. And that's what we see from this medrash here. And this was the cause of the Arbo Goluyos. We are still in Golus because us, the Yidden, we have in ourselves this hesitation. Now Chanukah is coming soon, a few weeks. And we see the whole nace of the neiros of Chanukah, of the oil of Chanukah, is based on the fact that the Chashmonoim did not hesitate to light the neiros, although they didn't have enough oil to finish the mitzvah until they got a new stock of oil. They could have said, what's the purpose to start a day and then to stop and wait for the pure oil to come?
let us wait until we get a stock of oil and then we'll be able to do it properly. No, they didn't say that. What you can do, the little bit you can do it. Start. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yaakov Avinu. Climb up the ladder, go up. If you start going up, I'll help you. You'll never go down. Because mitzvah goyer is mitzvah. In tshuva it's the same. A person that wants to go up and do tshuva, he doesn't have to be afraid. Maybe I'm going to go down later on. No, just do it. Just do what you can do. If we would have that courage, and that's what we reproach to Yaakov Avinu. Because of that, we are in Golus. We see Yaakov Avinu when he was during those 22 years in the house of Lavan. There's a medrash that says he didn't sleep. Rabbi Nehemiah said he didn't sleep. He was so busy, or it was so cold, that he didn't sleep during all those 22 years that he was in the house of Lavan. So what was he saying during all those 22 years? Rabbi Nehemiah says he was saying Tehillim. He was saying Tehillim. So I had a kasha. Yaakov Avinu did not sleep for 14 years in the Beis HaMedrash of Shem Ve'ever, and what he was learning Torah. The whole Shas, all the Torah, all Torah Shebaal Peh, Torah Shebiksav, all the Torah, they knew all the Torah, the Oves HaKadoshim knew all the Torah. So why, when he was by Lavan, he just said Tehillim? According to one opinion, he was just saying the Shira Mailos, just the Shira, those 15 capital Tehillim, which starts with Shira Mailos. And he kept them saying it over and over and over again. Why? Or why just those? Why just Tehillim? Why can't he learn? It's a waste of time for you, Yaakov, to say Tehillim. The answer is, Yaakov Avinu was in such a situation, such a hard situation, while he was by Lavan, that he realized top priority is to be mischazek in emunah and bitoch. And to say Tehillim, that is a way when a person is in a difficulty and he needs chizuk, you just start saying Tehillim. Just start saying one pasuk and another pasuk and another pasuk and try to understand what you are saying. And straight away you'll see how all the clouds go away and the light and the sun shines. Straight away you'll get a chizuk in emunah, a chizuk in bitochen. Even Yaakov Avinu, he left away his learning. He wasn't learning while he was by Lavan. He wasn't learning. It's not the time to learn now. Even Yaakov Avinu realized that during all those 22 years he was by Lavan, he needed so much siyata d'ishmaya. It was so dangerous. The top priority was to be mischazek in emunah and bitochen. Because a person who is mischazek in emunah and bitochen, then he's boruch. The Alter Nevardik says, bitochen is like a bridge of iron, which nothing moves. We need guarantees, we need security in our time. What kind of guarantee can we have? What kind of security the Klal Yisrael can have? The Klal Yisrael has only one security and one guarantee, the Rebbeinu Shalom. And in order to have that security, that guarantee, we have to have bitochen. We have to trust him. We have to be ma'amin. Baruch HaGever sheyiftach b'Hashem. Even someone like Yaakov Avinu, because he lacked in his neder, whatever cheshbonis, surely Yaakov Avinu had enough cheshbonis, enough reasons to make a neder. And yet, we see from the old Parsha, we compare the Shibud Mitzrayim, Klal Yisrael, after they were saved from Mitzrayim by Moshe Rabbeinu, they still had another 4 Goluyas, in which we are on the 4th now. We are still waiting for Mashiach. And because of what? Because of tzaddik like Yaakov Avinu who hesitated to go even higher than his madrege. And because of that he was punished with Yosef also. Because of this slight chesorn in emunah, which he hesitated to go higher up. I remember Rabbeinu Shlita told us a story, which I say this in order to tell you what kind of tviyas, what kind of demands can be put on a tzaddik. He said in the concentration camps there was a boy called Yehושע, and he was taken to a hospital. And in hospital, in concentration camps, it wasn't a hospital, it was a selection chamber to go to the gas chambers before. And he decided to save him up. But he was caught while he was going out of the hospital with him. He told me the story a few times. And then, there was a selection, and he was taken in a truck to be killed with other many people. So he volunteered to go and bring the soup to that boy. And the boy was waiting at the entrance of the truck. But before they allowed the Germans to bring the soup to the trucks, one SS officer said, "I'm counting you now. You are 7. I don't remember, it was 7. When you come back again, if there's one more amongst you, you're 8, we shoot you all." So Abenu wanted to take him out of the truck, and the boy was stuck at the entrance of the truck. He was waiting to go down. "Can I go with you, Rebbe?" He said, "No, the SS has counted us. I cannot endanger the lives of everybody else." So the boy, with tears in his eye, sat down in the truck. And they were taken away. And then when they came back into this place, they waited and they waited and they waited, and the German officer never came. And when the soldier came and said, "What are you doing, you Jews here? Get out from here. Go back to your barracks." So Rabbeinu told us a story, and he tells us many times the same story, to tell us all his life he has reproached himself more bitochen. But how can you say more bitochen? Bitochen on places, on the places of the others. But nevertheless, he reproaches himself. I'm just telling the story in order to give you a glimpse what a tzaddik like Yaakov Avinu might have had as a reproach from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, we must, for us, surely it is a lesson. For us, there is no doubt that we shouldn't hesitate.